the way. Brian Windhorst probably doesn't realize the singing that gets done on this particular broadcast.
There's so much singing on the show.
I'm not sure that's a good idea.
You want to jump
Singing
in?
on the radio,
No,
not a good
no,
thing?
no. I can't carry a tune for 2 seconds. Not 2 seconds.
So you're not going to karaoke? You're not going to be...
Hell no. Hell no. You got to know your strengths and weaknesses.
Couldn't sing. If you had to go to karaoke, though, and you had to sing one song, they're like, you got to get up there, Brian. What would you sing?
Probably a song from Hamilton.
Come
okay.
on, really? Oh,
Yeah.
because you could rap it.
Not going to throw away your shot?
No, what's the song that King George sings? I like that song.
Oh, you mean the one that
I
goes
had to sing
like,
that at
They
karaoke.
say... That one that's like...
I know what? I'm not even... You're trying to trap me. I'm not going to...
Hell no.
2 years ago, I had to... That's perk. I had to sing a karaoke. I was forced by my wife, and I sang that song. That's what I would sing.
How'd it go?
I would pay to see that.
You would have to make a very large bid.
I'm sure a lot of other people would too.
Brian Windhorst from ESPN is in studio here this afternoon. Bergie is in for Sedano. I have a lot that I would like to talk to you about.
Yeah.
But I'll start with basketball, and then we'll move our way down. First of all, just what'd you think last night? Dalton Knecht, surprised? Not surprised?
Well, first off, when you in the current state of the NBA, and you play the Utah Jazz and you reside in the Western Conference, it becomes a must-win game. I'm serious. I know that sounds like a weird thing to say. You get 4 games against the Jazz, you got to beat them because there's no free games basically in the Western Conference. You have to keep winning, or you're going to be like fighting to stay out of the play and stay in the play and all that stuff. So I come into last night's game and I'm like, the Lakers got to win this game. You can't stub your toe. You stub your toe and you'll regret it later. So they got the job done, and I'm really scared about saying on November 20th and making a proclamation. But if this is indeed who Dalton Knecht is, they will have hit a grand slam, because to get a rotation player out of this draft, I'm talking about a rotation player. Like, in all honesty, some of the guys at the top of this draft, you talk to their teams. I go, well, what do you think about X, who was taken in the top 10? They're like, we hope in like 2 or 3 years he can be like our number 3 or number 4. Like, that's what they say about guys who were taken at the top of the draft.
19-year-old French guys.
I'm not saying who it was.
Okay.
I'm not saying, I didn't say that, but people have said that to me. Right. Because, guys, they really didn't think this draft was very good. I'm not talking about draft analysts who have mock drafts. I'm talking about the guys I talk to who do this 365.
Why do you think, though, that a kid like Knecht, who we're already seeing...
I know why.
Is it... Okay, let me just ask a question before you tell me the answer.
Yeah.
It can't be because he's 23 years old.
Well, that's big reason.
Really?
Yeah, it really is.
Why? Why would you take a 19-year-old project rather than a 23-year-old guy who's ready to play?
Because in the NBA, you draft for the highest upside, especially in a draft where you're not sure. You draft for the highest upside because you're hoping that you can mold them into something.
Isn't that what they did last year with Jalen Hood-Schifino instead of going after Jaime Jaquez right afterwards?
Absolutely.
They did not want the older guy that was a senior.
Exactly correct. And honestly, I don't think that the Lakers were like, okay, in this draft we're taking an old guy. I think they got to 17 and they go, this guy's higher on our board and we're going to take him. And look, the 16th pick, I know LeBron said last night, boy, the first 16 teams messed up. The 16th pick, Jared McCain, is the leader in the sports books for Rookie of the Year right now, out of Duke, who went to Philly. So 16 and 17 are doing great good. But forget about all that. The Lakers got him. And this is the type of player that they've needed the last 2 trade deadlines and the last 2 off seasons, and they haven't been able to get. They went in for Gabe Vincent thinking he could do some of this stuff, but also be a distributing guard and also defend. But this is the type of player they needed, and that, frankly, that they haven't been able to afford. And I'm not even talking about an actual cash. I'm talking about in trade. Like, to get a player like this in trade might cost you 2 first. Like right now, if they said we're going to trade Dalton Knecht, people would be offering multiple first-round picks for him. His value from June 25th or whenever the draft was to November 20th literally has doubled. You'd have to get 2 first-round picks for him right now, maybe even more. And so if the Lakers really have it, and I want to be careful about making proclamations in November, if they have it, it will be a big thing for them, because what you need with LeBron James is shooting, and what you need with Anthony Davis is shooting. And not only that, this means that if they decide to use the picks in a trade, they don't have to use the picks for that type of player, that they can go out and look for something that could help them on defense if they decide to go that route. So huge. And also, J.J. Redick from day one was on this guy. And I see this all the time. I see a coach praise a rookie in training camp, and then when it comes down to it, the rookie's on the end of the bench. That's been happening for decades. It will happen for decades more. Okay, if you're a top 5 pick, you're going to play because your team probably stinks and they need to play it. But for the most part, you most of the time see coaches not trust rookies. JJ from day one said, and by the way, he was not great in Summer League.
No.
It was not like he came on Summer League and shot 70%. JJ, all the way through training camp, played him in training camp or in the preseason, and saw an opportunity to put him in the starting lineup and put him in the starting lineup. Like, JJ has helped make this happen.
Even those first 3 games, 3, 4, maybe the first 5 to 10 games, whatever it was, he wasn't playing that well. And then all of a sudden now he kind of started picking it up. Ever since he got put into the starting lineup when Rui got hurt, he went into the starting lineup. That's when it all of a sudden started to take off. The Memphis game was actually, it felt like the game that was his. So with that happens, does that, you were talking about how it allows other things to happen to another trade later on. Yeah. Does that allow him to go get like a big somewhere else?
Well, it allows immediately, it allows him to play Cam Reddish a little bit more because like the Lakers' big problem, you can look at individual things, but the Lakers' big problem is they can't defend.
Right.
And like so many of the decisions that Darvin was making last year was because he was trying to get some defense on the court. Like, I know it drove people crazy that he was starting Taurean Prince. He looked at his hand and he said, Taurean Prince is my best chance to keep somebody in front of us on the perimeter. And that's why he played him so much. And that's why he leaned into Cam Reddish a lot last year. He was looking for what guys to stop him, stop perimeter guys. So Cam Reddish, in theory, Max Christie, that's why they spent the money on Max. It's not happened yet, but okay, let's see. Playing Knecht allows him to play Reddish out there and not suffer at all offensively. And that helps them on defense. It just gives them a little bit more athleticism, gives them a little bit more length and all that stuff. The Lakers, by the way, now with the way they're playing, they've got really good size.
Yeah.
Really good size. So, for the moment, it's working. We'll see if this mix works, but you got to give JJ credit. He changes the starting lineup. He puts the rookie in there, which was, a little risky, and it's working, and they're playing really well. So we'll see if they can keep it up. Most important out of all this, we haven't mentioned LeBron and Anthony Davis. The reason that they're this record is because AD is playing. He's averaging 30 and 10.
MVP level, yeah.
30 and 10, okay? And LeBron is he's sniffing around a triple-double. So while we talk about the role players, which is what we're talking about, but that's what they need.
That is what they needed.
Yeah.
They had to have guys that can do things other than LeBron and AD. Stand by. Brian Windhorst is in studio. I actually want to break on time because I want to spend more time with Windy. And Windy has been, I got to tell you, he's been dropping a lot of knowledge, both on and off the air.
Always does.
In fact, I mentioned this before you got in here. Today, you had told me last time we were together in the 710 suite, we were there for a Kings game a few weeks ago, and you had recommended...
I don't know how many people are on the ice.
You don't know how many people are on the ice?
No, I was talking to Ryan Smith last night, the owner of the Jazz and the Utah Hockey Club.
Right.
And he was telling how excited he's got a hockey team. I go, Ryan, I don't know how many people are on the ice.
You mean you don't know how many people are on the ice in the game of hockey?
I don't know how many are on the ice on a team.
Okay, you want to take a guess? On the ice, when everybody's at equal strength, how many men are on the ice?
Both teams combined.
Are you including the referees?
No. Good question.
I believe there's 12.
Correct.
That is the exact right
You got
answer.
5-on-5 plus the goalkeepers.
But I wouldn't have bet money on it.
Okay.
There's three
referees.
3 referees. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I would have guessed there was 4, so I would have lost money there. I would have lost money.
But you're always dropping good knowledge. Last week I came back, like the day after we had gotten together. I said, Brian Windhorst told me about a restaurant right down the street from LA Live. I've never seen it. I've never heard of it. And he said it's legendary. And I feel like a big dope. So today, I finally went and found the place. It's a block away.
Yeah.
It's right across the street.
I have walked past this place 5,000 times and never have known the pantry.
Yeah.
Which you told me for like 70 plus years was open 24/7. They never locked the doors.
No locks on the door, cash only. They started accepting credit cards, and now they're only open like 1/3 of the time.
I swear to
you
you,
have to pay for the credit card.
I almost
guess.
went today, dude. I was so close. I was gonna go in today. Now, if I go in there, do you have any strong suggestions?
You get breakfast. The thing about it is, like, look, here's the thing. I covered LeBron like every day for like 12 or 14 years. They would always bring him, whether it was with Cavs or the Heat, they would bring him out here for Christmas Day. I think I spent 3 Christmas days at Staples Center. It was still called Staples Center back then. And I'm old enough, and I've been coming out here long enough that where we're sitting right now used to be a gravel parking lot. So when you would come out, they would always be 2:30 game. The prime time 5:30 game, Kobe versus LeBron, whether it was Cavs, Lakers, or Lakers Heat. So you're coming out of the game at 7 o'clock at night on Christmas night. Where are you eating dinner?
What's open?
You're eating at the pantry.
Okay.
I ate multiple Christmas dinners at the pantry. Now, I'm not saying that if you're in downtown LA, there's a bunch of great restaurants on an average, Wednesday at 5 o'clock. But on Christmas Day, it was a good option. And it was spectacular.
That's
But
kind of sad, though.
It is sad.
Sad Brian Windhorst sitting at the pantry by himself at Christmas
I-
dinner.
I have one that's a little sadder, I think.
Does it have to do with Chinese food?
No,
because that's what we usually
yes,
eat.
usually the Hebrews eat the Chinese on Christmas
Day.
But I will tell you guys, at one time I had to go do a Georgia Tech game for CBS on Thanksgiving, and I wound up eating Thanksgiving dinner at a Waffle House.
Sounds
supposedly really
sounds
good.
Great.
So you like that? Also,
I don't know if it still is, but Barney's Beanery used to be open on Christmas Day. I don't want to send people over there, but I'm a Barney's Beanery guy too. I mean nowadays I only leave downtown under protest. When I'm here. But I used to sometimes leave downtown.
So I also got a question because Ramona was in here yesterday, Momo, yesterday or the day before, and she walked in and she was so excited because she had a bobblehead of you.
Yeah.
And it was like Akron Bees, I think it was.
Akron Zips, get it right.
No, it's the Akron Rubber Ducks.
Rubber Ducks, that's right. Exactly.
Kidding.
So tell me how you got actually a bobblehead and for the
Well,
Rubber Ducks and what the Rubber Ducks are.
Rubber Ducks are the AA team of the Cleveland Guardians, the AL Central Division champion Cleveland Guardians. I believe they were in the ALCS this year. I know that you
Cleveland, this is for you.
People out here who have $400 million payrolls can't be bothered with those teams, but
It's okay though.
yes, they're AA team, and they invited me to come. And the thing about it was, I had to throw the pitch.
Did you get across?
Did I get it across? No, I didn't get it across.
But at least it
and
wasn't
I had just
way
come back
off.
from the Olympics. I had to, I was at the Olympics and I had to schedule it in September, and so. I just didn't really get a chance to, hone the old arm.
Yeah.
Oh, really? You otherwise you would have honed the old arm.
Well, the first thing is you're not going on top of the mound.
Yeah,
And,
that's unfortunate.
And the most thing you want is to not be. You don't want it to be memorable. And so I achieved that it was not memorable, but it was not. Let's just say that when they gave the ball back to me after I threw the pitch, the ball was damaged.
It was. It was scuffed, maybe a little dirty.
Yeah.
I'm getting pantry shamed. Just so you know, my
Rightfully
phone is
so.
blowing up with people going, "You don't know about the pantry." I go, "Bro, I live a block away."
Typically, again, things are different now. But typically, when you go into the pantry, there would be 75 pounds of potatoes on the grill, and at any one time. And they would, if you ordered hash browns, they would just sort of slice off a corner and just throw it on the plate.
I love that.
And I love that place. It really spoke to downtown LA to me. So
All right, here's what I'm going to say right now. You ready?
Yeah.
Next time you're in town, you and me, lunch the pantry.
breakfast at the pantry.
What
it
time?
might be at lunchtime.
Okay,
but
right.
It's a breakfast joint.
Okay, that's fine. But
Yeah.
like 12:30 breakfast.
Well,
at
I don't know
lunch.
if you're aware. We have this little show called NBA Today.
Well,
It
where's
airs from
that on?
12 to 1 o'clock on
Oh.
ESPN.
105.
That's very doable.
Okay.
Well, Cap, you could do it one of these mornings when you're literally staying at your home away from home across the
Just
street.
not-
Literally.
Just not like Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, apparently, because it's like closed half of the week.
I
which
know.
is heartbreaking.
I couldn't believe it. I looked it up
Yeah.
online today. In fact, I even tried to call them today to see if they would tell me if they were open for sure. Nobody answered the phone. But I went by and they were open. They were
Okay.
ready. All right, so Brian Windhorst is in studio. You know, we were talking about Dalton Knecht. Can I ask you this question? Do you think that Dalton Knecht's emergence, you said, hold on, don't go crazy yet, but to have the kind of game that he had last night, I don't care who they're playing against, you got to knock down those shots. If you're a rookie on LeBron's team and you're scoring nearly 40 points, that to me is spectacular.
It's never happened.
Right, he's the first guy, first rookie to ever, how is
Lead the
this
team.
Seriously, one of the biggest, craziest. There's a couple of LeBron stats that are just wild. This is one of them. I'll just ask you, how many rookies? Now we're not counting Dalton yet because he's played 15 games. How many rookies has LeBron play with first-round picks who have averaged more than 5 points a game in their rookie year?
I'll just take a stab. You ready? 0.
One.
Norris Cole.
Norris Cole. I would
I
have
was
said.
gonna say-
I would have
I-
said Boobie Gibson.
No, I was going to say Norris Cole.
Well,
I
Boobie
was gonna
Gibson
say that.
was a second-round pick.
Yeah.
Come on,
But there haven't been. I don't think there haven't been many second-round picks either.
Do better, Bergie.
So like one. So
Yeah.
like literally, when I say never, he's never had a first-round pick play like this.
Yeah.
Ever.
The story-
in 23 years.
Yeah.
It's never happened.
And he trusts him, it seems like, too, which is rare
Well,
by itself.
I thought it was interesting last week in New Orleans. You know, LeBron had this incredible triple-double game, and he comes off and he's doing the walk-off interview, and he's like, "Yeah, we're just riding Dalton," and I was like, "You know, they were riding you, sir."
Right.
But like he's invested in Dalton's success, and it's not something he's had much.
And he jumped off the bench last night
Oh,
when
my
he hit
God.
that 4-3. I mean, he was dancing on the bench.
The arena was just
Crazy.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was really great. So here's a question for you. Because Dalton Knecht is what he is now, does that make other players on the Lakers who you might have looked at as, well, we're not trading this guy, does it all of a sudden mean that maybe some more of this roster is tradable?
I don't know. I just don't think that they have that many assets other than those 2 picks. That's what teams want. At the end of the day, D'Angelo Russell just doesn't have that much value. And we know this because, one, he wasn't traded last trade deadline. We know they wanted to trade him and didn't. And then this summer, if he knew he would have value and the teams would sign him, he would have opted out of his contract. And even if he wanted to stay with the Lakers, if he thought somebody was going to offer him a good deal, he would have still opted out, so the Lakers would have to pay him. But he didn't. So we know there's just not that much interest. That said, these last 6 games since he's been moved to the bench, he's done exactly what you need him to do. He's been a contributor to this win streak. So that's been good. I just don't think there's value. I really do think that part of this Lakers season, can they be good enough between October 15th and January 15th that Rob and Jeannie think they can use the picks? Can they prove by January 5th? Because I don't think they're in 3rd place right now, and that's great. But if you look at this team, can you honestly say they can beat the Thunder, the Nuggets? Can they beat them? Is that much of a difference having Dalton Knecht to last year's team? Can they beat the Nuggets now? I don't know. Maybe you get to January 15th, you say, yes, they can beat the Nuggets. They could beat the Suns. They could beat the Timberwolves. They could beat the Warriors. They could beat, the cream of the crop of the West. I'm not sure they're there yet. So the question is, when you get to January 15th, do the Lakers feel like it's good enough that they can go ahead and use the picks to try to upgrade?
So in the summer, you talked about, you didn't say that this was going to happen by any means, but you talked about Jonas Valanciunas and that the Lakers are not out of it for him. They think about it later. Is that a type of guy that they could go after and would be somebody that they would want?
They obviously are looking for a center. I don't know if you need a player sort of that high up. I think you just need an athletic center. Like another guy.
Not a plotter is the way that Momo put it.
I agree. I think they need athleticism. Again, if you go back and look at the 2020 team, they had athletes at center, and it made a big difference, and it took some pressure off AD. One of the guys that people are looking at in the league right now is Jakob Poeltl, center from the Raptors. The Raptors are in a full rebuild. I think they're about 3-10 or something like that. He's had a couple of tremendous games recently. He looks pretty good. Would the Raptors move him? That's a guy who's becoming a name. But it doesn't have to be a transformational, it doesn't have to be a transformational player. The problem is you've got to, we know that Rob and Jeannie, and I always put Jeannie in there too, because she's got to make a decision. I don't even know if Rob Pelinka is going to be the GM in 2031. Seriously, I don't know I don't know anything about 2031.
That's like 7 years.
But Jeannie has to be worried about 2031. She has to make that decision. So, in some ways, it lands on her desk. And she's if you've got AD averaging 30 and 10, and you got a 40-year-old LeBron averaging, sniffing a triple double, and you're in 3rd or 4th place, do you start thinking about 2031? That's really where we are. They would never say this, but that's essentially what LeBron and AD's mandate is this year. Prove to the Lakers that they're good enough to use those last 2 pieces.
Do they want a role player, like a big-bodied center, to give AD a break? Or do you still think all this talk that we've been doing for the last 2 years about they need a 3rd star? Do you think they want a 3rd star, or do they want to enhance what they have?
What they would like to have is a player that takes them from being, are we borderline play-in team to we can win the Western Conference. That's what you want. That's the trade you want to make. Is it an athletic center? Is it, who's going to be available January 15th? One of the things that Pelinka has said the last couple of times there's been transaction season, he said, it takes 2 to tango. And he's also talking about the Lakers. It has to be a player that they want. I don't know. Their best player may not be available, but we'll see. Because I am obviously impressed with what the team is doing. They are 8-0 at home, and what are they on the road? 3-5.
Yeah, they're not great on the road.
2-5. No, they've got at least 3 road wins. 3-5.
It looks like they are.
Well, they're 14 games in, aren't they? Aren't they 14
away,
games?
They're 3-4 away.
Okay.
7-0 at home, 3-4 away.
There we go.
Okay. So they got one more home game here. They play the Magic Magic won 6 in a row. That's no gimme. Like, it'll be a tough game probably. How would they go? How do they go when they go out on the road? Like, let's see. But they've really taken care of their business. They put themselves in a really good spot, and they've kept those avenues open, and that's something to watch.
Brian Windhorst is in studio. Can we hit this break? How much more time do you have? Do you have a few more minutes?
Yeah,
because
sure.
I honestly, we could talk basketball all day long. You're a football fan too, right?
I'm not an elite football fan, but sure.
You're a Browns fan. You don't want to talk football, do you?
Well, I mean, I was really depressed when I remembered they're playing tomorrow.
Brian Windhorst is in studio. Stick around. This is Sedano and Kap.
Miss the good old days? To save thousands on the exciting Kia lineup, including the new EV, hybrid, and plug-in models. Or you can enjoy deals on classics like the rugged Telluride, the sporty K5, and the all-new K4 sedan. Whatever you need, Kia of Carson most likely will have it in stock as one of the largest Kia dealerships in the country. Head over now or online at KiaofCarson.com. Hurry in for best selection.
Park, party, and play at Hollywood Park Casino, LA's premier card room, now open 24/7. Tune in all this week to Travis and DeMarco to win the ultimate game day prize pack from Hollywood Park Casino that includes this Sunday's tailgate party passes at the casino and game day tickets at SoFi. Listen for your cue to call 877-710-ESPN and don't miss your chance to win the ultimate game day prize pack. Hollywood Park Casino, park, party, and play. Must be 21 and older to enter.
Park, party, and play at Hollywood Park Casino, LA's premier card room. Now open 24/7. Play no-bust blackjack, poker, and more. Enjoy Century Bar and Grill's flavorful menu for lunch or late-night dinners. Watch your favorite teams and catch up with friends on game days. Unwind and enjoy live music and crafted cocktails at Ray's Lounge. Easy parking and access, Hollywood Park Casino, located next door to the Forum and SoFi Stadium. Park, party, and play. Hollywood Park Casino. Elevate your game.
Must be 21 and older to enter. These are approved DOJ games. Geico 004527. Geico 003871.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey guys, it's Cap, and if you're looking to sell your home, call Seller's Advantage. They'll make you a great cash offer with no need for repairs. They buy it as is. With Seller's Advantage, there are no agents. They can close within days, and they buy with cash. They'll even offer a $10,000 advance to help with moving costs and other expenses. Check out their reviews online and call for a no-obligation offer at 888-390-AS-IS, 888-390-2747, and visit sellersadvantage.com.
Don't worry, sell happy with Seller's Advantage.
Lakers fans, you can feel the courtside experience from the comfort of your home. Follow the Lakers on Instagram and get exclusive insider access to highlights with angles straight from the floor. On Lakers Instagram, see your favorite players and find out what happens behind the scenes through Instagram stories. Stay locked in throughout the season. Don't miss any of the action and follow the Lakers on Instagram now. Let's go Lake Show.
Hi, this is Sean McVay of your LA Rams. The Rams play here. KSPN, Los Angeles.
710 ESPN.
A good karma brands radio station.
710 ESPN.
Sedano and Kap for your afternoon right now on 710 ESPN.
It's time for what you need to know.
Let's do it. What you need to know right now.
What you need to know is being brought to you by Morongo Casino Resort and Spa. Good times, less than 90 minutes from wherever you are. Bergie's in for Sedano. Brian Windhorst is in studio hanging out. Big D here is running this operation.
What's happening?
And Lindsay Baseball is ready for what we all need to know.
All right, guys, so Disney, ESPN, and the NBA are teaming up to present the first real-time animated NBA game. All we need is Christopher in here for an oh boy, because it's going to be called Dunk the Halls. It's going to air on ESPN2, and it will be the alternate option for the Spurs-Knicks game on Christmas Day. It will feature iconic Disney characters in virtual live recreations of the on-the-court action.
I actually think this is really smart.
Who's playing Wembanyama?
That's a great question.
Goofy.
Probably Goofy, yeah.
It's got to be
He's the
Goofy.
tall one.
Somebody tall, skinny.
Tall, lanky.
Obviously, this conversation's been had.
No, that was like off the top of my head.
Well,
I'm
maybe
smart.
yeah.
I mean, at least for right now, when it comes
All
to
right.
Disney characters, apparently.
All right.
Brian.
Oh, I was literally just going to say, how is George not called yet?
I know, right?
And I'm pretty sure he has.
But Brian, you know what though? If like CBS has taken the Super Bowl and like turned it into a Nickelodeon slime fest,
Yeah.
And if Fox has, what game was it we were talking about yesterday? It's like a Dallas.
Oh, the Cowboys-Bengals game.
Cowboys-Bengals,
Yeah.
they can't flex out of it because they've already said
The
that they've
Simpsons
got
game.
a Simpsons character thing. So if everybody is already doing this and you're Disney, of course you should be doing an NBA game with the Disney characters.
I'm fascinated how this is possible. So, like, you know, when Chris Paul's coming down the court, like, it'll be Mickey Mouse actually coming down the court.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
it's some sort
Yeah,
of
exactly.
AI technology.
So listen,
Or like
it
Donald Duck or
says
something like that. Yeah.
every Spurs and Knicks player will appear as a motion-enabled animated player. And the Disney characters expected to appear include Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Pluto, Goofy, Chip and Dale, as well as Santa Claus and his elves.
So Chip and Dale. So Chris Paul would be Chip or Dale, right?
And when he complains to the refs, does he have the high pitched?
At that point, he needs to be Donald Duck. And just,
It's going to be great.
That is what you need to know. Brought to you by Morago Casino Resort and Spa. Good times, less than 90 minutes from wherever you are. So Brian Windhorst is in studio. On a day like today, you what have you done so far? Just NBA Today? Is that like the primary?
NBA Today, yep. Talked with probably about 6 or 7 teams, just checking in on stuff. That's what I do all day, every day, unfortunately. It's sad.
Why?
And, well, just because you spend hours of your life talking about the number 7th man on the team, about whether he can be traded.
Will you tell us this? Don't get offended by the question, by the way. When you call these teams, when you talk to these teams, are we talking to coaches? Are we talking to GMs? I mean, who is...
All of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it like, will you talk to an assistant to the assistant GM, or you only talk to the number one guy?
No, I'll talk to, I mean, I'm not going to say, but, I talk to more than the GMs.
Okay.
Sources, man. He's not
Yeah,
going to give
like
away
like
his
last
sources.
night, I spent an hour and a half at crypto with the Jazz because I don't see the Jazz every day. Tonight, I'm going over to Intuit, and I'm going to spend the time with the Magic because again, I don't see the Magic every day. I see, I've been to 3 or 4 Clipper games this year. I'll go see the Magic and talk to the Magic folks. So it's what you do. That's the job.
The guy who's the owner of the Jazz that you were talking to last night.
Yeah.
What is his name?
Ryan Smith.
Okay, and I didn't realize this. He's he's not even 50 years old yet, right?
I don't know how old he is.
I feel like I
he's
looked it
pretty
up
young.
last night. Like he's like in his late 40s.
Yeah.
And I don't know what exactly it is that he did because I looked this up last night. He started
46.
some tech company that made him, I guess, a billionaire, and he's able to
Yeah.
buy up these sports teams now.
Not only that, like one of his highest paid players is in high school in Utah.
One of his highest paid players.
That's right. You heard what I said.
Wait,
Is
I'm
in
trying to-
high school.
How's that
Yeah.
work?
Yeah.
There's a guy that he's paying NIL money to his name is AJ, and I can't pronounce his last name because I'm not Jonathan Gavoni and I don't specialize in this, but
Okay.
he's going to go to BYU next year, which he funds the NIL. And, I think he's going to go to BYU. Like, I think that's the arrangement. And so he's at a prep school in Provo or somewhere.
When
and
you say he's one of the highest paid guys, you have
makes
any idea?
millions. I think it's I mean, I don't want to be tied to this. I mean, I've just been told it's, I think it's not getting it all right now. But I mean, go ahead.
No, it has. The story says AJ Dybantsta, DYBANTSA.
I don't think that's how it's pronounced, but that's
Yeah,
how I
I don't.
avoid
I'm just tried. He's getting $3.5 to $4 million in NIL.
Wow. In
That's-
high school.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much. I don't want to say that was all from Ryan Smith, but yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
High school.
I will say
kid.
this about Ryan Smith. He lives his life like I would live my life if I was a billionaire.
Buying an NBA team.
But just like if you're around him, he's just like totally relaxed and cool. I mean, he sold his company, so I'm sure he's still working at it, but
Well, he was wearing like a blue hoodie last night with like a black.
he's very
like, vest.
famous for always wearing a backwards baseball cap.
Okay, because I think last night I was up at the broadcast location, and I was standing there next to Michael Thompson. And I go, across the court, who's that? And they go, that's Dwayne Wade, you big dummy. I go, not Dwayne Wade, the guy talking to Dwayne Wade.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I think that's the owner of the Jazz. And I'm like, he got that look that says, I'm so wealthy and I'm so young that I'm not dressed
Thank you
up.
for calling him young. We're the same age.
Yeah,
So
46 years old, young fella.
Thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
young
Yeah.
kid. You know?
He's done a little better than I have.
I don't know, Wendy. I don't know,
I think
man.
you're doing
I think
pretty
you're doing
well
good.
for
I mean,
yourself.
he owns the Jazz. He owns the Utah Hockey Club, and he's trying to get BYU a national title.
But does he have a bobblehead with a AA baseball
Probably
team?
does, and
Exactly.
it's probably. I think he. You know what? I think he actually owns a AAA baseball team.
But does he have a best BFF in Scott Kaplan?
That is
I
a
don't
good
think-
question.
Definitely not.
Yeah,
no
that
way.
is a good question.
No way.
People don't believe it. I told them right away. I said, Wendy and I hung out last night. Wendy and I are now BFFs. Now, you may not
It
feel
was
that way
much
about
more
me.
enjoyable talking to him than watching the game. I'm just sorry. I just don't know what I'm looking at.
No,
like guys would skate around in a circle, and then all of a sudden I would hear the horn go off.
You're
and
like,
I was
something happened.
I don't know how the puck went in, but I didn't even see the puck, but it went in the goal.
So why were you there?
I was there as a guest
okay.
of Good Karma Brand.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And Sam Pines. Yeah, so Cappy has talked about how he met you, and he was waiting around, and he got the chance to talk to you. What is your story of how Cappy actually came up to you? Was he being creepy? Was he waiting off to the side?
In
Did he
all
just
honesty,
walk up to you?
I was looking for
shake his hand?
anybody in that suite where we could not talk about hockey. And no offense. And people were like, oh my God, when you go to hockey, it's so much better live. With all due respect, it was just, I just didn't.
Hockey live, by the way, it is so much fun. If you're sitting down,
you have
watching,
to be watching.
I just don't know the game.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I just don't know the game.
I love it live.
So what happened was, though, is that Wendy was talking to a group of people, and these were all people that were like, oh, I know him from TV. Cool, I'm hanging out, I'm talking to him. And I'm kind of waiting off to the side. Like, I got to have a little bit of Wendy time myself.
Yeah.
And I had to wait for you to get done so I could grab you and hold you.
The double half, I mean, it's not halftime. The double, that's another thing that's rough.
The intermission, the two intermissions.
The double
you don't like
intermission
that?
is tough. It's tough, man. That's some tough. It's like 20 minutes.
Yeah, about 15, 20 minutes.
That's tough, man. It's tough.
Let me tell you what I'm doing. Maybe you want to join me. You ready for this?
Yeah.
I am going to be one of those ice boys at a Kings game. So when
you scoop up the shavings or whatever?
Correct.
Right.
Now the Kings are actually, they don't really buy the fact that I'm like practically Brian Boitano on ice skates, right? So they're like, no, they're putting me through like a 3 or 4 week course where I have to like prove to them. You talk about LeBron and AD proving to Jeannie that they can use those picks. I have to prove to the Kings that I can skate well enough to go out on the ice and shave that ice.
That's fine. I'm worried about injury. Like, and seriously, I was talking to somebody from the Jazz yesterday. You know, they just had, like, a month ago, the Utah team played its first game, and they had Lauri Markkanen, their 7-foot franchise player, go out and drop the inaugural puck drop. Now, he is from Finland, and I know the Finns are great hockey players, but he is, like, hockey is probably one of those sports where they don't want you to play it. How do you feel about your 7-footer walking out on ice? Like, sounds ripe for disaster.
They didn't put down a red carpet for him?
I don't know, but I mean,
hope so.
Is that what happened?
They put down a carpet.
All
right, well, then I take it all.
No,
back.
you don't know. Maybe they didn't.
If he steps off wrong one time and slips on his
That's
butt,
what I'm talking about.
It's all
This is
over.
way too much risk being associated
Can
with
you
it.
ice skate?
Hell no.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Would you like to learn?
No.
You sure?
Right, he doesn't even want to.
Because here's what's going to
We have
happen.
an ice skating rink right outside.
The rink is going to go up here.
They're
putting up the tree.
Yeah.
And right after Thanksgiving, they're going to put the ice skating rink right out here at LA Live. Why don't you and me?
I'm just going to say,
arm in arm.
I've been coming here every other week for most of the last 7 years. There's some times when I walk past that rink, especially in the morning. It's I don't know about that surface, buddy. I mean, I know that it's a wonderful time with the family, and I walk through there, and everybody's having a great time with the holidays. But boy, you better be careful on that surface. I don't think it's exactly NHL grade.
You don't think so, huh?
No.
Yeah, you were out there last year, so Cappy did go out there last year and was pretty good. He was going backwards, forwards.
Turns out I'm like the Jewish Wayne Gretzky. You know what I mean? I didn't even know. But I'm a natural.
He was going around saying
L'chaim. You're from, Western PA. It's known for, that's how, I get it. But it's not where I'm from, buddy.
All right.
I would break an ankle and mess up my teeth.
We don't want that. You got to
look
look
about
pretty
hockey.
for TV.
Well, here's one thing I know about hockey.
Tell me.
The equipment stinks
to high hell.
It smells
so
good
God,
bad.
Man. Oh, it's the worst.
Like when you're in NBA arenas, like, when you're covering an NBA team, you always go to an NBA arena in the morning for shoot around. And a lot of times these arenas are being shared, just like crypto. And you'll be walking down the hallway at like 10:30 in the morning, and there was a hockey game the night before, and you'll walk past where the locker room was, and you'll be staggered.
Yeah.
You'll be like, oh my God.
Oh, I know that smell.
Yeah.
I know that smell. I played hockey for a long time, and those pads, you can't really, like basketball uniforms, you can wash all those.
Yeah.
The pads are not easy to wash.
They have these
and they
canisters.
put it all in a bag and zip it up.
They have these canisters that they I've seen them. They disinfect the room in the locker room after it's over because they got to try to get the smell out.
It's so bad.
And by the way, you think an NHL player stinks. Like regular hockey guys, the guys who play hockey at 11 o'clock at night in the ice skating rink in the mall because there's no ice time, those guys are nuts. They're out of their minds. And then they pack all their crap in their CCM hockey bag.
Yeah, CCM,
and then it just
nice
stinks
call.
to high hell.
Yeah. And because you zip it up and you put it in the back of your car and you forget about it until you get it back out again
my
later.
God, this
It
is
smells
just-
so
I am
bad.
so not down with this sport.
Sounds like you know a lot about hockey.
Because I'm around these arenas. I'm around these arenas. I see the machine where they sharpen the
blades of the skates,
and it's off-putting.
Kind of terrifying.
We have not talked to Wendy about football. Let's just have one more segment with Wendy. We'll talk football, and then we got to get him out of here because he got to go to work. D flying this plane.
And your BFF Wendy is here, too.
Right, Lindsay Baseball producing this operation. And Brian Windhorst is in studio. We talked a lot of NBA, talked a lot of Lakers. We talked about a lack of knowledge in hockey. And
talked about the pantry.
Yeah, the pantry, right? Barney's Beanery.
Yep.
Just talked about Columbo at the commercial break. Morales came in. I said, hey, there's a Columbo connection here.
Big fan of Columbo.
Big fan. He watches it every night.
All episodes are available on Peacock.
Mm-hmm.
Just so you know.
Okay.
I hear more about Columbo from Morales than I do about the radio station. That's
Columbo.
how much he loves it.
Columbo's your favorite show.
It's I'm going to say it's my favorite. It's a very calming experience.
Yeah, calming.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I really remember much of Columbo.
What I want in a show is 1970s murders.
Because
it's very calming.
Murders are calming.
Really?
Yeah.
The murders were different back then, I suppose.
You know, McMillan and Wife.
I don't know that one at all.
Quincy M.E.
Quincy M.E.
Yeah.
Oh,
look, he's
Morales,
I can hear him in the other room. Excited.
I mean, Quincy M.E., medical examiner. Quincy, yes.
I don't
right.
know that
Oh,
one.
no, I know Quincy.
Oh, Chris is real fired up.
All right, hold on.
These
Here
are
comes
all
Morales.
classic Los Angeles shows.
Here comes
All right,
Morales.
go ahead, Morales. This is your time.
Now,
to shine.
you, me, and Ramona maybe a year and a half ago, sat downstairs at a bench in front of Starbucks, and we talked about life, but we never made this connection.
Yeah.
Columbo's incredible. That's established. But Quincy M.E. is such a gem. But here's the thing about Quincy. He is he's a coroner.
Yeah.
But he's never a coroner. He acts as an FBI agent. He acts as a lieutenant. The show is basically, he never is actually a coroner. He's investigating. He takes it upon himself.
Yeah, but what was the name of the actor who played Quincy? What was
the
his
guy
name?
from The Odd Couple?
Yes.
Jack Lemmon?
No, the
Walter
TV show.
Matthau?
No, the TV show, not the movie.
I'll find it.
Come on.
But I
was impressed
remember
if I knew those two.
No, that was impressive.
No, that was
that was good. Quincy M.E.
Your ratings are going to be extraordinary.
Our ratings are already Jack Klugman.
Yeah, don't worry about
Jack
that.
Klugman.
And I didn't even see his name.
Jack
I just saw his face.
And he was a ladies' man in the show.
Without question. Yes.
Yeah.
In the opening, he's like sort of feeling up a woman in a
So you'd like that, Cappy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
It's a great show, and he lived on a boat sometimes.
Columbo, not a ladies' man.
Funny, though, I never really called it Quincy M.E. I always called it just Quincy.
Okay.
So did you know Columbo actually has a first name?
I don't know.
So
but
here's the thing that
Go
broke
ahead.
my heart. Earlier this year, my newer girlfriend at the time, she's like, I'm tired of watching Columbo with you. I'm like, well, then you can leave.
Then you can leave.
How'd that play out?
So she does a Wikipedia. Come to find out, in 2 episodes, when he shows his badge, enough of the audience over the years has zoomed in, and it's Frank.
Wow.
Frank Columbo.
That's a good name.
But it
sounds like a.
But I liked the mystery of he didn't have a first name.
Oh, really?
Like he always references to his wife, Mrs. Columbo, but she never appeared.
There was one episode where there was a plot to kill her.
Yes. Those were the newer ones, though.
Yeah, that wasn't very good.
How many seasons of Columbo were there?
You can go on Peacock and see them all right now.
7 classic.
This looks like season 10.
But remember, when they say...
You are correct. You really know your stuff.
And then
Maybe I
8,
should
9,
do a
10 were the newer
Columbo
when they were on
podcast.
ABC. But remember, they're not it wasn't a TV show. It was the Sunday night movie. That's how Columbo was so rich, the real Peter Falk, and had a mansion in Beverly Hills, because these were a big event. They only happened every, 3 months. You know, kind of like Lit.
But
it didn't always happen all the time.
The cool thing about it is if, you can see all this classic L.A. stuff. It's all filmed all around L.A. And you can, see what things look like in the 60s and 70s. I think it's kind of cool.
And what was the other one? McMillan and Son?
McMillan and Wife, which was Rock
I never
Hudson.
got into that one.
That was based in San Francisco.
But it was a big deal. The Sunday night movie, Columbo, Johnny Cash was a villain. They had celebrity villains. It was a big deal. Martin Sheen was a villain, or not a villain.
George Hamilton.
George Hamilton was a big villain.
He have a good tan back then?
Oh, yeah.
Spectacular.
Yeah, really?
He was in his prime.
Really?
Okay, so what's right now?
Okay, hold on a second here. Morales literally just turned his body. He's gone into deep interview mode here. Okay, go ahead.
Let's get rid of the Hoops Collective. We're
Go
going to have
ahead.
the Columbo Collective.
Yeah.
That's right. I would
Hoops
totally
Collective is
do
great,
that.
but Columbo.
I would totally do that.
What's the
Collective is great.
number one episode?
The Johnny Cash episode is way up there.
Oh, yeah.
Johnny Cash, in an incredible plot twist,
Oh, yeah.
crashes a plane.
Yes.
He's the pilot. He crashes the plane to kill his wife and his illicit lover.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I think Johnny Cash was on the episode of Monk, too. I don't know if you watch any of that.
Let's not get into
stuff,
Monk
but
right
yeah,
now. We'll talk about
I
Columbo.
love that show.
For me, I think it's candidate for a crime.
set in where a senator campaign for senator tries to fake his own assassination attempt.
Shot at a lot of it at the Century City Plaza Hotel, which is now all apartments, but back then it was a big deal.
You know, Chris and I used to do these walks around downtown LA in the morning for our exercise.
Get scared. I'd have to protect him.
I would have to protect Chris because he was afraid
scared
about all the the guys out there lighting up their crack pipes and stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
He's a San Diego and the high end with Del Mar guy.
So
he's the mayor of Del Mar. What does that tell you?
But Chris would walk around and he would go, they shot an episode of Columbo over here. You see this building right here? They shot an episode of Columbo over here. Like, he literally was giving me downtown LA landmarks based on where Columbo episodes were shot.
I can't wait to text Sedano and say, we turned the hoops. Brian Windhorst was here in studio. Hey, you missed it, Sedano, which it's killing him right now.
A little bit.
And then we talked Columbo.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I mean, it really makes me sad. People are going to, it's going to hurt my brand, which is hip. My brand is
yes,
hip.
it is. Very.
We need to make Columbo. People said, and I hate to say this on the air, make America great again. No. Let's make Columbo relevant again.
You guys really should do a podcast.
It is available on Peacock right now. You could spend tonight watching it.
Oh.
We need to cut this, send it over to Peacock. They own the whole plaza. They should hear it.
Yeah.
My friend, this was a pleasure.
A real pleasure.
This was the best 5 minutes of the year.
We're going to go to Barney's Beanery
for
3 hours and talk about Columbo episodes.
And record a podcast
and
there.
order the chili, because that's what Columbo always orders.
Columbo loves chili.
Hey, in the meantime, people are asking in our live YouTube chat, they're like, we think Wendy's kind of fading. We think he's sort of not really into this conversation. I said to them, I go, no, you're wrong.
You're wrong.
I would
Shocking people in our YouTube chat are wrong.
I would say that
hey,
Wendy...
listen, you losers, go out and get a real life. Go watch Columbo tonight.
I would say that Wendy is more excited to talk about Columbo than he is to talk about...
I'm worried
Dalton
about
Knecht.
the audience, not tuning into it, but I am enjoying it.
Good. Listen, here's my rule about this place. As long as the people in this room are enjoying it, I don't care what anybody else thinks.
All right, then that's fine. Yeah,
you guys can get back to hoops.
Yeah,
now,
that whole
right?
ratings thing doesn't exist anymore.
Hoops,
Don't worry about that.
Schmoops. Give me a break. Last thing. So tomorrow night, yours and Lindsay Baseball's Cleveland Browns on national TV against the Pittsburgh Steelers. What a disaster your football team is.
You're not kidding. It's an embarrassment.
It is.
They're not worth talking about.
I would
the Cavs
say
are.
that my first sporting event I ever watched was the 1986 World Series, which, by the way, if Bill Buckner fields the ball, the series is not over. Now nobody knows who cares about it. But anyway, that was the first thing. So I've been a sports watcher since 1986. I was 8 years old. I think that Deshaun Watson is the most catastrophic trade for our franchise in that time frame.
That $200 million is not.
That's only part
million.
of the problem. Guaranteed money on a hard cap system is terrible.
Right.
They traded 3 first-round picks for him.
Yeah.
And he's done.
And not only that,
he's done.
But not only that, but they've now ruined another season because they were so desperate to prove that they were correct on the trade.
And they ruined this season because the owner goes to the head coach and says, "Hey, listen, Deshaun Watson got hurt again this year, but I don't think we have the right system in place for him. So fire the entire offensive staff that just led us to the playoffs with all these different offensive line combinations and 5 different starting quarterbacks and hire a different offensive staff. So let's go hire the guy that Buffalo fired in the middle of the season when you don't even know that Deshaun Watson's going to be able to make it through a full season, which he hasn't yet again. So it's been like 4 years in Cleveland.
That your only hope is that you draft a quarterback who is cheap for a few years, and then that doesn't harm your team a little bit.
Yep,
So they have to draft a quarterback who's cheap. They just have to.
But I really think his career is over. I really, really think that he's done. I don't think any other NFL team is going to say Deshaun Watson is going to get back to who he was in Houston. That guy's long gone. And so are your Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, but it was amazing, just amazing that they made it to the playoffs last year.
Yeah, it really was. I know, I was around a lot of it last year. But then they decided that the owner's smarter than all the football people.
And also, isn't it sad, the Browns-Steelers rivalry is pretty much dead?
Yeah, because the Steelers-Ravens rivalry is what that division is all about.
When I was a kid, it meant everything, and now the Steelers beat the Browns regularly anyway, but they don't even care. They're like, yeah, it's just another game.
Right. I feel like the Browns end up beating one time a year. They beat the Steelers once a year. It feels like.
Check your math. I mean, they've won in Pittsburgh twice in my life.
Twice.
Yeah.
Is this in Pittsburgh tomorrow?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Oh, God, it's going to be cold. The field's
no,
going to be a mess.
I think it's actually at home.
It won't matter.
It is.
Who cares? I'm not even going to watch it.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Brian Windhorst, I know you got to get to work. Thank you very much for all this time.
This hasn't been work.
This is easy.
We've been talking Columbo.
Right. And when you come back, you and me, breakfast at lunchtime at the pantry.
Yes, absolutely.
And then go ice skating around the rink.
Just not on Monday and Tuesday and maybe Wednesday because I think they might be. Well, you said they were open today.
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll do it on a Wednesday.
Okay.
Cappy, you forgot to ask him though.
What?
If I'm safe with my bet for the Cavs to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
What do you think?
What were the odds that you got on this bet?
It was more of like a friendly wager.
Oh.
So, it's just I mean, I told Sedano they are going to I think they're going to win the East. And he's like, there's no way they're beating Boston. And I said, okay, they'll make it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
They've got a fair shot. They had a good night last night. They lost the game, but they had a good night. It sort of proved that they could do. But Boston's the best team in the East.
All right. Well, he's just confirming what Sedano's been trying to tell you. Okay. Radio Tinder is coming up next. Brian Windhorst is going to work.